Okay, so I am Rolandinator with DE Media, and I'm joined by Sierra Lund, or better known as Moxie.
Moxie.
Right. Okay, so how I kind of wanted to start this interview is I kind of want you to get like the idea who you're coming from or who's interviewing you, right? Because
hmm
in terms of being a gamer, you're on a whole different sphere of ability than I've ever been. I mean,
Right.
my best gaming achievement is I was like one win away from Diamond in League after
That's
like
pretty good.
that's after like 2,000 games in like 4 years.
Yeah.
But
I mean, a lot of MOBA experience led me to not really being good at much of any of them. So, it's admirable.
yeah, but kind of my point with this is I played a lot of this game, and especially when I was younger, and it got to a point where I kind of realized like I don't think my dreams of being a pro gamer are gonna happen, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious because you obviously have the complete opposite experience from me. I mean, you picked up the controller one day. It's not like you picked up the controller one day and suddenly you're like,
No,
yeah.
I was not nasty like that. Not at all.
So, no, so yeah, you're right. My question is kind of like, like where did it begin? Like you just started playing Smash Bros. One day and now you're here, best in the state. Kind of like where did it begin for you?
Yeah, so my brothers, they both played Smash. So I guess just from a playing Smash perspective, they're both much older than me. They're actually about 18 years older than me. So they were adults, and also my brother had gone to a tournament. One of my two brothers had gone to a tournament before. It was way before I was ready to go to any type of anything, but I kind of knew of its existence, competitive Smash. Um, and at a certain point, I was actually a MOBA player before I played Smash. I played Dota as my like probably most common game, but I dabbled in a lot of stuff, and um, I kind of just pivoted because like I saw a tournament on a stream at some point. I just like randomly was on Twitch and I was looking for like highly viewed streams, and there was a melee major, I'm pretty sure, that was
Mm-hmm.
on. It was a like Curse Hungry Box versus, I don't know, it was another one of the five gods, but it was Curse Hungry Box
Yeah.
took it all. It was like some Florida regional, I think. And that was like more of my re-exposure to the competitive scene, and from then it was like kind of a thought on my mind because Smash 4 was coming out, and um, I was, I don't know, enjoying the game, but I didn't go to tournaments until 2 years later,
Mm-hmm.
because I watched Pound. I saw Abadongo win. I'm like, damn, that's cool. Like that was sick. Like he wasn't expected to win it all. He had a really crazy run, and like Mewtwo was like a character that really wasn't like seen on the big stage like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was really neat to me. And I asked my dad about tournaments. I was like, could I go to a tournament or like something like that? And he's like, yeah, just look for one. And I'm like, okay, I guess I will. I check Smash boards because that's what I know about. I learned about that through some miracle,
Mm-hmm.
and it was dead at the time. So it was the wrong timing, honestly, because the Smash boards was already kind of just, yeah, it was just mostly falling off. People were moving to Facebook groups and Discord and stuff like that, and by some stroke of luck, some TO that was actually a little more lost than even I was still posting on Smashboards. So it was a brand new tournament, and it got posted there, and I found out about it, and I, just by some crazy stroke of luck, managed to find the one local tournament that was posted on Smashboards. And it was like just posted. If I had checked right before, I would have just given up and not really seen it at all, and not found a tournament. So it was really like super lucky, and I went to that tournament and I went 2-2. Not bad, honestly. Played Falco,
Nice.
you know, got my back airs on the people that were, attending their first tournament also. It was nice.
um, so how did you kind of go from this first local to from what I could find, your first kind of major event being Don't Park in 2016?
That's correct, yeah. So after that first tournament, my kind of competitive drive kicked in. It's something that had been really a part of me for a while. I definitely consider myself a competitive person. I competed in MOBAs before, and before that, I was on swim team forever, which was super fun. I enjoyed it, but it was just like the early stages of me competing, and
Mhm.
very quickly in the first month of me playing, I kept attending that one local, which was bi-weekly. Uh, I went to a monthly, which is Emerald City. It was one of the earlier Emerald cities, and I told someone at that tournament, I'm gonna be PR in a year. I said I'm gonna be PR in a year, and they were like, "What? You're crazy!" And that's like, it actually isn't that crazy, but that person saying it's crazy made it seem really cool to me to like try
Mhm.
to shoot for it. Um, so I keep going to tournaments. I keep playing. I have a pretty high work ethic. Like I'm playing the game a lot at the time, and especially going into my second year, which I'll probably get to at some point. I was playing like 8 hours a day, like all the time. Um, but at Dome Park on the Grass at the end of the year, I wasn't really ranked yet, but I was still just playing a lot. I had switched to Meta Knight, which also was partially inspired by Abadongo because I went back into his VODs and saw his Meta Knight, and I'm like, that character's fast and kills people instantly. That seems cool. So that was kind of what I aimed for, and I became the person that killed people instantly for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, Dome Park was a really stellar experience, and also my one of my best tournaments for a long time. So
I think it's kind of interesting because I live on the other side of the coin. You got to remember how you went to this event, your first event, you went 2-2, and then you come here and you're telling people, "Yeah, I'm gonna come PR in a year," and then you back it up with the comment, "Yeah, it wasn't that crazy." Meanwhile, that's the thing that me and my friends were talking about, and now I am after 2 years going 2-2. You know.
yeah, well, it wasn't that crazy because at the time Washington was really not that strong.
Hmm.
Um, I'm playing in a region that could be considered at the same level of skill as like random flyover states in the Midwest or something that don't really have an active scene or don't have that much going on. Like, there's a ton of stuff like that, and Washington was just another one of those states because they were locked in the top left and nobody traveled and nobody learned from fighting top players, and everyone was just getting shit on by the one person with top level experience, Kakajan. Um, it's a very good sign that a region is not at a level that it could be at when there's a player that's able to be that dominant. And that's why I say it was not as impressive as it kind of sounds, because I think playing in the first year and making PR right now is a Herculean task. Like, that is really hard.
Hmm.
But back then, I don't think it was the craziest achievement because I had a work ethic. Everyone else around me didn't really. I mean, to an extent, but people didn't just even take the game as seriously as people do now.
Hmm.
The whole PR now grinds all the time, and they're always going to every local. There are so many inactive players and people who didn't really play that much and mostly just got experience from each other at tournaments. So just by putting in that little bit of extra effort and grinding at home and practicing my combos all the time, which was most of what made me a good player for the first while that I played the game, was I just had better execution than other people. Um, and yeah, that took me pretty far, was just how much effort I put into the game early on, and I was able to just kind of surpass people naturally that way.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of an interesting series of points you made here. Brought up that we were kind of a weak region, but you had the drive. And fast forwarding a little bit, we have such a individually like kind of stacked region. But do you think that like kind of looking forward after Don't Park of the Grass, that was the first major here in Washington, and then we had another like super major right after that, Battle of BC 2017, and
Hmm.
there was tons of top players there, and you made a decent run, getting 33rd.
Yeah, it was not too bad. So going off of Don't Park, that was kind of the event that told me I could do it, and that's crazy because I was the reason that it was so impressive to me is because it wasn't the fact that I got 13th, because on my path to 13th I beat Duang, currently Ludo,
Mm-hmm.
and I beat some people that got kind of weird brackets because like the actual final bracket got shuffled around before the second day. So my path, I think, was not insane. I mostly beat like either lower PR or like not even ranked players. But in my match to lose for 13th, I played Isem, who is
Hmm.
obviously at the time was like a top 20 player in the world.
Yeah.
And I take game one, and I'm like, whoa, I'm some random shitter that's not even ranked. I'm 14 years old. I'm not ranked. I'm playing in Washington. And I just played one of the best players in the world, and I took a game. That's insane. And the rest of the set is also quite competitive. I lose, but I really don't mind it. And I had a good enough run that at the time I was really salty every time I lost. I was 14. I could not handle anything well. After that, I felt great. And Isam got up and he said to my parents that were behind me, "Your kid is so good. Your kid is so good." And also he said, they're better than Sabrick Free, who was a different Meta Knight player from his region back in the day, which also was not unbelievably impressive at the time. But
Hmm.
to me, that's like I'm better than someone I know. I've watched that player before. Like
Yeah. That's an
that's
amazing confidence booster, right?
that was crazy to me. It was really crazy to me. It changed probably the path of my like career so much because it gave me that drive going into that next year, which would be my second year of playing,
Hmm.
where I started playing 8 hours a day. Like I said, like it gave me that boost that I needed, and also um, coming off of Don't Park on the Grass, that was the end of the 1 year period, or coming up on the end of the 1 year period of me getting ranked. And with that season, I actually did end up getting ranked 10th
Nice.
on the Washington PR. So that all combined at a really good timing to give me a confidence boost to go into Battle of BC. I had started grinding really hard, and on that event, I don't think was really insanely significant to me. I did things I kind of expected myself to do. I lost a match that even I didn't even feel that amazing about. It was generally an average event, in my opinion, for my performance. But what mattered to me, or one of my biggest takeaways, is that was one of the first times I saw players that were truly exceptional in person. Like,
Mm.
players that were at the very top of their game, because it was like Abadongo was there and like MK Leo was there, and it was like, holy shit, these players are crazy. Like they are playing like unbelievably good. And in one of my early stream sets, like my second stream set, it was a match against like just an okay player. It was a match I was seeded to win. I won with Meta Knight, and I checked Twitter, and there's a tweet from Abadongo, who you will remember as the player that kind
Inspired
of
you.
inspired me.
Yeah.
And it says Pandarian question mark, and I was like, holy shit! I just got acknowledged by the person that got me into the game, and like the
Wow.
reason I play this character, and it's like I was losing my mind. I was showing everybody I'm 14. Like I'm such a little kid, and I'm just going up to all the people that I know from the scene. And I'm like, look, he made a tweet. Look at this. It was insane to me. It was so amazing, and so I do think a little fondly of that event, even though not much really happened. But yeah,
Nice. I see your excitement. I couldn't imagine the level of validation or feeling validated you must have felt by your hero. This dude one of the best players telling your parents that you're that you're so good. Like all of these things. And you're riding on this wave of confidence. And isn't this like right after Battle of BC, the first time you like yes, you traveled to Vancouver, but that's still kind of in region. After that, you started traveling out of region, right? You went to Genesis.
I did go to Genesis. That was the first time technically that I left the PNW. These Battle of BC at the time though really did kind of feel like a major I was traveling to. I
Mm-hmm.
was so nervous. It was insane. The thing with these events is I was just like every single time I went to anything big for a while, I was just shell shocked completely. Anytime I played on stage, I just had to overcome the biggest like set of nerves ever, and I'm like, please, muscle memory, take me somewhere. And it just like I'm so nervous. I can't even begin to describe the level of shakiness I have, and that lasted for so long. And Genesis was definitely one of those tournaments, but it was a good experience because I show up, I play a match. It's a matchup that I'm so unbelievably ready for. I'm told by all of my peers, "Oh yeah, you're winning that for sure," and then I lose. So it's for me. There's a lot of experiences that I have that were very humbling that I'm glad happened because it was really easy for a little kid like me who sets goals and then just achieves them to get
Mm-hmm.
an ego. It happened with extreme efficiency how often I would just get an ego over anything.
Mm-hmm.
So getting those reality checks I do think was valuable to me, and also playing on a stage, like a real stage, like because that set that I lost against Icy Mist at Genesis, I played on a stage at a major for the first time out of region, and I was unbelievably nervous. And that's something that's definitely stuck with me.
Like when you say stuck with you, like like what you learned from it, or sometimes those nerves still come back.
No, I learned from it. It was like
See.
something that was like very impactful to me, like realizing that no matter what I think my level of skill is, no matter how good I am at something, there's like another level to it. Like mental is something that matters. That's kind of what made me really realize that, is that it wasn't just me getting, better at the game, or like I could have played better or something like that. Like I was nervous, and that's something that I need to learn how to overcome, and having a good mentality going into these sets is going to be something that is probably required.
Isn't this the beautiful thing about the game? Is you picked it up as a hobby, and now it's forcing you to grow as a person, forcing you to learn how to not be nervous, how to control yourself.
Yeah, I definitely think that is the beautiful thing. I definitely said that before, is that just the the beauty of competition is just how much it forces you to change and forces you to like overcome really difficult boundaries that you wouldn't even face otherwise. It's rare for you to be put in a situation that causes you to be that nervous, because you're performing, like you're literally performing in front of people, and you're trying to achieve something, and there is a pressure on you because if you fail, you're out, you're done. And you also spent money coming here, you spent weekends grinding for this, and you flew all the way out, and it's just, it could all be gone. And that the weight of all of that is insane. And learning to get past that is something that I would not trade for anything in my life, because I've really just I am unbelievably different than I
Mm-hmm.
would have been, um, had I not, pursued this competitive path.
Well, to build off what you just commented there, looking forward past Genesis 5, you had this humbling experience, but there's another major at home. There's Port 3 after this. How do you bring these lessons home?
That was a rough one. That was a rough one. So the lessons is that I didn't really change anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
So after that Genesis, I'm still a stubborn little kid, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep grinding my tech skill, and I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna own, because I'm going to locals and I'm owning. I play Duang again. That was my match for 33rd, 25th. I don't remember what I placed. Um, my
I'm writing
match
it down.
for whatever that was against Duang. My set record with him at this point in the season is 15-0 or something like that. I think I am literally shitting on him all the time, and I lose. I lose in I think 2-0 fashion, I want to say. Um, that was a heartbreaker. I could not keep it together at all. Something about me is that my mental was absolutely horrid after I lost. Until I was 15, I pretty much cried my eyes out every time I lost. I was a little kid. I mean, it was really like I had never had to control my emotions like that. Like the Smash scene was the first time I really put myself out there as a person. I was not ready to face these kind of challenges because they were difficult. This is things
Mhm.
that like is still difficult to this day, and like putting that younger me in those positions was hard, and so that was another lesson. But again, it takes a lot of time for me to internalize these things because when I was younger, I was stubborn. I was super stubborn. I wouldn't take lessons from things immediately because I thought the way that I was going about things was the best way. So this was when was Port 3?
I believe Port 3 was in 2017 or early 2018.
Okay, yeah. So late 2017, 2018. This is where I start. kind of realizing like, okay, maybe something needs to change. And the problem is that going into the next event, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's not an immediate change.
Mm-hmm.
Mental and also like learning to overcome nerves is something that is built over time. It's worked like a muscle, and the more that you do it, the better you are at dealing with these situations. So it really takes a lot of experience and a lot of like self-reflection to be able to overcome these things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I didn't immediately really get it, but for the rest of that year, it was definitely a main thing I was working on.
Yeah, I think so. Because as you were saying, you kind of put being a competitor and just being in the Smash scene, you've kind of put everything about you out there on display. The amount of effort you put in, and I think you got a crash course in gifted kid syndrome because you came off the presses hot, and then you got smacked down by life over and over again.
Yeah.
And yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, no, keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, as a kid who was in gifted kid classes earlier, it took me years to get smacked down by life until I finally realized, like, something's got to change.
Yeah,
But it,
it's when school gets hard. But for me, like school wasn't hard yet. I
mm-hmm,
was 15, I was 14, 15.
mm-hmm,
I'm going into it and what's beating my ass is that I'm going into these tournaments expecting my work ethic and my like effort that I put in to immediately equate to results.
mm-hmm,
And also back then, it's really easy to have a results-based mindset and have results kind of control the view and perception you have of yourself. And because this is all I really had at the time, and also like my social life built off of Smash wasn't really expensive yet, it felt like when things started not working in Smash, it felt like everything was crashing down. It was so hard on me, um, and I'm glad that I was able to like overcome it still at such a young age. But yeah, I definitely think it was some gifted kid syndrome, and also just like you feel like you're on top of the world for a bit,
mm-hmm.
but it's just not the case.
Yeah, but building off that, it seems like something clicked in 2018. Was your breakout year for the game, having some of your best performances. I think a highlighted event is you ended up losing to Elegant at Super Smash Fight Club 3, and then you had
Yeah.
a couple travels in between there before you ended up at GTX getting second, beating him.
Yes, there's a lot of things that happened in that time period. Um, but there's one thing I would like to highlight that maybe isn't even really on your radar as something that meant something to me. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, there was a tournament called Smashdown Battle Royale 3. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say it was in Michigan. I did horrible. But I flew out same day for that flight or for the pre-local. I flew in on Friday. I booked the flight like on Thursday, and I show up because I'm like pissed at myself because before that I went to Hyrule Saga. I feel amazing about the game whenever I'm playing at my peak. Whenever I'm playing in money matches against top players, I'm destroying them. I'm playing against people that I think are really good. I play them and it's free, and I'm like, okay, I'm some hot shit. Like, I know what I'm doing. I go into the bracket, I get unbelievably nervous, and I just lose it, and I get 65th, and I'm like, holy shit, this can't be happening to me. Like, I know how good I am. Like, I'm playing money matches against people that are top 50 in the world, and it feels like the easiest thing I've ever done. Like, how is this possible? And I look inward. I try to focus so much on mentality. I'm grinding way less because I'm just trying to like find some sort of zen. And in a fit of pure rage, I just say, I'm gonna go to Smashdown Battle Royale and I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna play. I'm don't care what result I get. I don't care anything. I'm just gonna play, and that's it. And I show up. I fly in on Friday. I go straight from the airport to the pre-local, and I beat like four PGR players. I just show up. I beat Larry Lur. I beat Dark Shad. I beat SDX. I beat some two like high PR local Michigan players, and I lose to like Samsora and Black Twins, who are super good. Samsora was also like insanely high ranked in the world at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a matchup I'd never played. So it was like, okay, there we go. I like I show up and I'm like, yeah, I know I can do it because I just went here and I played with no regrets and I just did it. I get no sleep because I'm talking to my friend through the whole night. I sleep like an hour. I show up the next day. I have like an early pool and I get farmed. And I'm like, okay, I said I wouldn't care about the result and I didn't. I lost and I just completely just let myself be. And I'm like, it's fine because I know how good I am. And that was the result that I took from that. And from that moment onwards, not only did I kind of get control over my emotions, I was able to play without like feeling like I care about the result. I was just playing to play. That was kind of how I went about things for a while. But on top of that, when I lost, I didn't cry anymore. That was the first event where I lost and didn't cry, and it just kind of didn't happen for like ever.
Mm-hmm.
It stopped. It stopped like complete cold turkey. I just wouldn't really care that much when I lost,
Mm-hmm.
and that was crazy. It changed everything, and that's what when I went immediately down to that Texas event where I lost to Elegant. Also notably at that event, I beat Lima week after he won Evo, and I beat Meister,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost to Elegant. He was notably very good at the Meta Knight matchup. But leading into GTX, that was a crazy run for me. I beat Stroder and I beat Elegant. I almost won the whole damn thing. Um, it was it's crazy how much my potential exploded because those kind of leaps in skill and those leaps in results don't happen to people. That they don't really like. You're not going to see someone just immediately just burst forward and be like a whole new person, like coming out of their cocoon. But that's pretty much what happened to me because I felt like the whole time I was just so held back by like the chains, like the mental chains that were holding me down, and I was able to finally break free of that. And it's something that really did stick with me. This one did stick. Like I learned a lesson from that like permanently. Mental has been something that is so important to me since that forever. Like I will always preach how much it matters to really like understand yourself and to keep yourself cool while you're playing. It was life changing,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Yeah, that sounds. I kind of like how you said it without saying it. It seems like you found a way to separate yourself from your results. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It sounds like you know, like you said something along the lines of you know how good you are, and you just kept playing. And suddenly, the fact that you spent 8 hours a day playing, and then you lose or get farmed doesn't, on occasion, doesn't seem to like rock
No, it
you.
didn't really bother me as much because I know that when I'm at my peak and when I'm trying and when I'm super calm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to put on the performance that I think I can. But that was a mindset that kind of also transformed as I grew into a player in Smash Ultimate because I realized that there isn't like a potential I need to play to. I just need to play, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. There's a baseline that I can try to achieve, but I mean, play is so volatile, and like how good you play is so volatile, and it depends on so many factors that there's no point in really gauging how good you are in the first place. You just kind of have to keep trying to get better, and that's the point that I eventually evolved to. But each one of these steps, it's not like it was wrong, even though I don't think it's something that I necessarily agree with anymore. It still helped me. It was an improvement, and that's why mentality is such a thing that grows. It's not just there's a right and a wrong mentality. I was growing and getting better at it, and I was learning to look at myself in more like open and like understanding ways of my shortcomings, and that's something that just like has been ever changing and will still continue to change. I change it all the time to this day. So yeah.
Yeah. I think build like what you said is you've improved your mentality, and as we were talking about before, it rocketed you forward into ultimate. But it seems like you kind of like found a self worth that wasn't your results, like we said. So I guess going into ultimate, use how did it begin? Because one of the questions I had is like it looked like coming into ultimate you were one of the best players in Washington. I know there was like a level of players above you still floating around in from Smash 4, but they seem to be not so present in ultimate, and it's just kind of been you.
Yeah, well, in Smash Four at the very end, I managed to get ranked first. The Western Washington lifetime PR or whatever shows me
Mm-hmm.
at fifth. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. So I'm not gonna comment too much on that. But Yeah, I think there was like in the PNW. I still think there were players that were better than me. I think Big D was on a global scale like really good still. I was better at the very end, but you know it was the end of Smash Four. The game was dead. Um, Going into Ultimate though, other than like the first 2 weeks, you know, don't park on the grass and all that while I was still finding a character and I was playing Meta Knight, I was pretty much the best very quickly. And I could tell that experience was really just all that put it put me above. Is that I just continued to just accelerate beyond people, and I started losing less and less sets all the time because um, nobody went and traveled. I was the only one who went to majors. I was the only one who has been on these difficult self exploration journeys to improve my mentality. I'm the only one who was grinding as much as I did back in the day to learn all these situations and to learn how to deal with all these tournament experiences. I mean, me and Pokepen went to by far the most tournaments every season of every PR season for all of Ultimate and all of Smash 4. Like, we just would go to absolutely everything and no one else would attend. So it was very clear that like experience was a difference maker because also, I mean, he was number 2 also, Pokepen. Like, the more you played, the more it really just made you better, and that was just definitely what propelled me ahead, at
Hmm.
least within the scale of Washington for such a long time.
Yeah, to put it from kind of what from my perspective, it sounds like you just described that you were a true competitor. You knew what it took to be a competitor, and what it took to be a number one in the state competitor, and nobody else was ready to compete like that.
Yeah, it was just a complete gap in experience. I don't think any amount of practice in region or any amount of like, you know, understanding of me as a player, you know, studying all that stuff, it wouldn't have made up the difference because you have to have seen what I've seen to really like get to that level. And I still think that carries me to this day is that I am able to stay consistent and stay above people because I've been at this level and I know how to adapt because I've been in these difficult situations. And when things get really hard and when I'm really behind or the set's looking difficult, I know how to steel myself and keep myself in it because I've been in the highest pressure situations you can imagine. So
Let's see. Well, let's look a little bit forward and to some specific things happening and that happened in 2021, and because we had like actually let's back up. What happened between 2018 and then 2019 and COVID? I know some personal things in your life, like didn't you graduate with your AA and
yeah,
like finish school? Which also, by the way, Moxie, so much like a clap for you for being able to be a true 8 hour competitor and get your AA at the same time.
it was a running start, so it was pretty easy. But
Yeah,
you know, I was still something that I'm surprised I was able to do it. I just think I don't know. I'm pretty smart. I'm not. I didn't have that great of a work ethic. My GPA fell off near the end because I just didn't care. But you know, I still got it.
yeah, you.
Yeah.
th- I mean, you made the smart decision. So many esports players like just totally forego some of their education. So it's not like you just like complete took a complete leap of faith before committing. Because isn't this around
No,
the same time you started to commit full time to Smash?
it was immediately after because for the last the pretty much the last year of my education, I'm like as soon as I'm done with my education, I'm like or as soon as I'm done with my associates, I'm quitting and I'm just gonna play Smash, because like I wanted to get it just because I know my parents really want me to, and I know it's also something that I should do just for my own kind of safety net, and I want to have that kind of fallback. Um, but it got really hard because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I could do it. Like this is a path I can definitely take. It was frustrating to have that year of just like, God, I know I'm gonna just go full time. Why do I have to do this? But I did do it. Because that's also, I mean, getting my AA is the exact same time that I graduated high school. So I had to graduate high school as well.
Mm.
Um, so that was kind of what kept me there. But I don't know. I'm glad I did it.
I mean, let's back up a little bit. It seems like you did that a bit to make sure your parents were happy, blah blah blah. But it seems like mom and dad have been super supportive the whole time. I mean, you've gone out of state several times. You've been to multiple Genesises. You've been to Shine. You've been to Big House. Like they've been super supportive this whole time.
Yeah. So my parents, they're a big proponents of like giving me freedom and giving me space. which is something that I really appreciate. They have things they require of me, but they're like, as long as you do this, you can just do whatever you want. And they're not gonna, you know, like give me everything. They're not gonna spoil me. All these tournaments I traveled to back then, that was my money. I went to every local and I farmed locals and then I flew out. That was my routine. I would gain $300 in a week and I'd spend all of it on a flight every weekend. And so like my bank account was always empty because I was always traveling. And but they were definitely kind to let me do that. And at first, of course, they were like, travel with people make sure we know those people. And like everyone that I traveled with to Genesis and Hyrule Saga, it was people that were friends with my mom or like had met my mom and knew like
They've been
she knew
vetted.
these kids were fine. Yeah. So she definitely made sure that I was safe for the first little bit, but after a while it's like, okay, you've traveled to a bunch of these tournaments, you know what's going on, it's your money, like just go for it. um so that was the support that they gave me. I'm very glad that they were able to just give me my freedom because I think at that age especially it helped me grow really really fast because I just was able to meet people constantly. I was at all these tournaments and I would talk to adults and I'd meet these cool friends that I had all across the world. Every time I travel somewhere there'd be a someone I know, someone familiar that I met at a previous date. And it was crazy to me, and that's when my social life really started to flourish, was when I started traveling everywhere because I just started making friends all across the world. um, it
Uh,
was it was nice for me.
yeah, building off that, I mean, not to take away from how much effort and skill and time you've put into the game, but you really are, in terms of this game, kind of a self-made woman. And but the thing is with that is like, I don't think everybody's necessarily completely self-made. Like you've already said, you've had your parents help you,
Yeah.
and you've had all these friends along the way. Like, who are these friends that helped you get through all these travelings and to learn from? You've already mentioned a couple inspirations.
Yeah. So early on, it wasn't really anybody I knew. It was like people that were inspirations, like Abadango, just people that I look up to, because that was all I really had. But as I grew, there was a bunch of players in region that really just like kind of were like either rivals or like friendly rivals or just like something like that to just like keep me pushing. I think one that has been persistent through pretty much my entire career and has stayed one of my best friends for the longest time is Ludo Ray. He's absolutely wonderful and has also inspired me, and at many moments when I've had low like motivation and all that, has given me like, I see the way that he works. Like I see like things that he tries to keep himself improving. And like we've been playing each other and also been going back and forth. No matter how good I get, we always go back and forth since really long time ago. So I would say definitely he is one of those people. Pokepen is another one. Like these people my age that would just go to these tournaments. We would play every week, and I would have to keep getting better to keep up with them because they're working really hard too. Um, those are people that I can say are definitely like strong inspirations and strong assets for my growth. Um, Beyond that, it's hard to say because I don't ask for help very much. Um, I do consider myself to be a bit more self-made because I just can't like ask for help. I like figuring stuff out on my own because I think whenever I figure something out, it gives me the skills to figure out more things in the future. So I'm at a point where I've done that enough that whenever I have a problem, I can sit down and just process it. I can just try to think through it, and I will find an answer from nothing, because I've had enough experience that I can do that. So, um, yeah, I don't know if I have too many people that I would consider like inspirations, but definitely some people that have helped me along the way by being hard to fight, hard to beat, and good friends as well.
Speaking of people that may have pushed you because they're hard to beat, one of the first and bigger tournaments post COVID that you went to was Main Stage, where you got knocked into losers by Luis. And if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, you also lost to him at GTX in the finals, right?
yeah, I did.
Uh, do you have any kind of rivalry with him there? It seems like you have some
Dude,
contention.
honestly, kinda. We've played a lot. If there's anyone that I think like really inspires me at like a kind of the upper PGR level, I guess, that I've played a lot. I think Luis is definitely one of them because we've been playing for a while. Like since GTX, we've played a lot of times. Like we played also at a bunch of West Coast regionals because we used to always go to like every small West Coast regional, like me, Elegant, Stroder, Nico, um, Bestness, bunch of other people send. Yeah. Like all of us would always show up to all these West Coast tournaments, so I have a lot of experience against all of them. But Luis has definitely been around to like play me for the longest time. So, um, yeah, and we still have competitive sets all the time. We played a Riptide too. He
Yeah.
barely snuck into top 24 with a banger game 5 with me. So yeah, we definitely have had some history. I'd say he has inspired me at times. Like definitely early, like when he really started popping off around Riptide, I was like, that's someone that I've seen at my level and played a bunch of times, and he just like bursted forward. He kind of just figured it out, and that was something that really inspired me. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me. I didn't mean to say main stage. I meant Riptide. But
we also played at main stage.
oh, all
Yeah,
planned. All planned.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys really do have a rivalry with him. But I mean, after Riptide in September, going forward, like in October, you went to the Smash World Tour North American West Finals. That's a mouthful.
Yes,
And
I sure did.
you did pretty well. You got third.
My first Wolf Major, or oh, the West Finals. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was all right. Yeah, I was. I don't know. It was okay. I beat Base Mage. I know
Mhm.
how to do that. That's something that's gonna be with me forever. I know how
Yeah.
to fight Jigglypuff. I was his first Base Mage's first big win ever was on me. It was at an Ascension because I used to go to Arizona monthlies every month.
Hmm.
It was at like Ascension 4 or something like that. He beat me at for like fifth, I think. And yeah, everyone popped off. It's like, oh, Jigglypuff beat somebody, this terrible character, and now everyone loses to Jigglypuff. And everyone loses to Jigglypuff, and I'm the person that can beat Base Mage.
Hmm.
So thankful for that. That was a bit of a tangent, but yeah,
No, that's
decent
a good
tournament.
or good backstory I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Speaking of, well, you kind of mentioned it. Eventually, you do move to Wolf, but it seems like a couple things happened in between what we just brought up, and then you actually had some two crushing losses to my good friend Mystery Soul, Back in Blood and Domino Effect, respectively.
Every loss I've ever had to solo has been crushing. Everyone. Yeah.
That's all he does is crush people.
Because for actually a long time, even pre-COVID, I played Soul, and he could not beat me for a while, and it was hilarious because he kept taking me to game 5, and he would keep getting closer every time, and I just could not stop clutching on him like every time. Like he would go up like 2 stocks to 1. I'm at like 85%, and he's on like a fresh second stock in game 5, and he's up, and I just clutch, and it's like holy shit, how did I do that? And it's always like. And it kept doing that, and the last set we had was that one where I just like crazy super clutched on him, and then COVID happened. We never played, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got mine. I got my record up on him for a while, and then I kept beating him post COVID, and then eventually he like broke the ice and beat me, and then I just lost 7 times in a row. So I have not had a bracket demon like that like ever, like since the only person who's like beaten me that much was literally like it was literally Konga like when I was bad. So like Smash 4 like when I was a lot worse, of course I kept losing to Konga because he was the best player in the state and I was not, and so I kept losing. But like that doesn't feel like a bracket demon. I was just getting skill differenced. But like Soul was my bracket demon for some time.
Yeah, it sounded like those first two, the way you described it, and I saw the sets. Seems like you kind of won because you were the experienced player who knew how to clutch out a set.
He got so nervous every time. Yeah.
And then something happened during COVID where he just doesn't get nervous anymore, or at least against
He
you.
was still really getting nervous post-COVID. It kept happening. The exact same process pre-COVID happened post-COVID for like 3 or 4 sets, maybe like more than that, honestly. But then, yeah, as soon as he started winning, he started winning. Like it was like I didn't even take a game for like a few sets.
And it seems
Yeah.
like this is the kind of era where you are still number one I'm still of the belief that you're number one in the state, but do you
I
have
would say that's true statistically. Yeah.
statistically, well, yeah, statistically, but But the thing is, now there's people nipping at your heels, and they're getting like good
Definitely.
chunks in.
Yeah.
One of them being Seoul, and then but to back up, you may have some people domestically like Seoul, like in our region, biting at you. But then you go to Smash World Tour in Orlando, and you have a major performance, breakout. But you had
I
a.
would say because I just switched to Wolf, that felt like a breakout to me.
Mm-hmm,
Because right after switching to Wolf, I went to Back in Blood and I did okay. I got seventh, and I was like, I'm content with that, I guess. I lost to Soul,
mm-hmm,
figure. And then I was like, well, I'm playing Wolf and I'm doing pretty good, but I'm not like that good. And then I go to Smash World Tour, my first Wolf major, and I beat Cola. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's something I'm pretty capable of, because I think a lot changed like just leading up to that, because when I show up to Smash World Tour, I show up on Wednesday in Florida, and I'm playing constantly, like every moment from Wednesday against top players until when I play. And I keep playing. I play an unreal amount of high level games, and I talk to Jackal a lot also, because I needed some like early Wolf inspiration to get me going, and in that like just short period from Wednesday to like Friday or Saturday, I like completely transformed my Wolf, and I was able to have my first Wolf tournament be one that like I can still be proud of now. I looked back on those VODs, and I was like a day or two ago, and I was like, I was honestly playing pretty good. Like, there's a lot of mistakes I'm making that I definitely am super aware of now, habits that I just used to have. But for what it's worth, the fact that I was playing Wolf for like a month, 2 months at the time, that was crazy. Like, Wolf is like my main. It was ridiculous.
mm-hmm. Well, now that we're kind of like near the future, and we're bringing up people that are, like I said, biting at your heels and taking good bites, what do you have to say for a lot of the domestic competition? Because there's a lot of people like after your head, and I don't know if you heard. Let's take a good example. Mr. Ashwin here, is one of our sponsored players.
Uh-huh.
He beat you at a recent event, and he's saying things, kind of arrogant things, but I think it's
Is he now?
yeah, some things like, if I had the time, I would be the best player. I could figure it out.
He says that?
He said that in an
I
interview.
could see it. I could. Best player just with time? I don't think so. Not right now. It takes a little bit more time than just time. You have to. It takes some traveling, some crazy experiences to be ready for that. I don't know. I think he's very good though, and also I can't beat him at small locals. It's just unwinnable. So, I mean, he's my one losing set count right now.
Mhm.
Um, so I can say he's definitely biting at the heels. Um, I would be offended if anyone were to say that they could be the best though. I'm gonna be honest.
I see.
It's I take personal offense to people thinking other players are better than me in this region.
Nice.
Not as like a huge crazy ego thing, but I've been first for quite some time.
Mhm.
Like I'm trying to keep it that way forever. You
Mhm.
know, it was definitely a bit grounding to me, and also kind of a good thing for me to lose number one for a season, because I know how it feels now. I know how it feels, and I hear other people be like, the best player in Washington, Mystery Soul, and I'm like, that's not right. That just isn't right. And so I was way more motivated coming into this last season to really like bring it back in my favor. But yeah, there are some people definitely like nipping at me, but I think I'm also like doing really good at pushing back. Um, Soul in particular, I finally beat for the first time like a week or two ago in a while, and then I played him again and I won again. So I am currently 2-0 recently, and that's feels a lot better than being 0-7 streak. So yeah, and yeah, no one else has had a winning set count on me in some time. JDV, I'm currently very positive on, although I think he's a phenomenal player. Like, really, what I have to say about him is like entirely positive in every single way. I have literally nothing bad I can say about him as a player. I think he's stellar, and I think he's going to be something incredible. The more he plays, just the better he gets. So fast, his mentality seems amazing. I'm proud of everything about him. So he's crazy, and there's a lot of other really great players. I can still definitely drop sets to Ray,
Hmm.
amongst many others. Pretty much anyone can beat me, but it's can you keep beating me? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Does that mean you have like the edge of them because you over them in the sense that you have the will to keep winning, and you don't think maybe that these people don't?
I think everyone has the will to keep winning right now, and that's why I think our region is so beautiful. Is because all these players have a really good work ethic and don't give up. I would say I have one of the worst mentals on our PR right now, which is impressive, honestly. Because I've put a lot of effort into mine. I think worst mental is also like it's hard to gauge because it depends on the context. I think I'm worse at no, actually I'm fine. Yeah, I'm all right, but definitely everyone has like a winner's mentality and also like a really good work ethic, and I don't think that's really what's putting me ahead. I do think experience is helping me a lot, just in the sense that I'm one of the only people that's been to a ton of majors and has been in really nerve-wracking situations. Usually when I have to clutch up, I do, like especially in region, there's tons of times where people bring it close with me and just can't close it. um, it's rare for people to have the ability to consistently win out in that specific situation against
Hmm.
me, and I think that's also what made Soul so hard for me to beat. Is he was consistently winning the close games every time, and that's most people don't really do that. And I think also that's like what'll make people beat me is, and that's why Ashwin is also beating me recently, is because he also keeps winning those situations specifically.
Hmm.
um yeah, a
Seems
lot of really great players.
yeah, as the saying goes, not everyone's born a closer, and that's kind of a skill you have to learn.
Yeah.
Speaking of closing, at the last Emerald City, you lost to BC players.
Yep.
How are you? I mean, you're number one in the state. We're better than Oregon. How are you gonna make sure that you're gonna close the gap between Washington and BC?
I think if I play Lemon again, I will win with utmost certainty. I think if I play Ouch again, I have a pretty high certainty that I'll win also. And that's it feels weird for me to say, but I am watching it and I've watched these sets back a lot of times and I kind of get it. Especially, I think the Joker matchup is one I'm very comfortable in, and one that I do know very well. I just, on that day, I made some uncharacteristic mistakes, but otherwise played very good. In my set with Lemon, I got 3-0'd, but you watch that setback, it does not feel like it. I'm doing some crazy stuff. I just kept dying. So there was some very small individual mistakes that I think were uncharacteristic of me that led to me losing, but I'm really not too frustrated about that day at all. In fact, I was off of it completely, feeling completely fine because I was happy to see that after playing Ouch, that it is very doable. I played and I'm like, that really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be at all. I was like, I could have won that honestly. Um, the first three games were close and I took a game, so you know I think that proves that there's something that I can do. And also the Wolf Ditto is one that I'm not super experienced in terms of just like I don't think I'm amazing at it, and I think that's something I can work on as well. I feel like I'm growing really fast as a player right now. I'm putting in a different level of effort than I have in any kind of recent time, and my approach to the game feels cleaner. And I'm looking into outside perspectives for the first time in a while, where I feel like I kind of get locked sometimes, like just playing the way that I see the game, and I'm not able to see some of my mistakes because I don't really acknowledge what they are because I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Hmm.
But if I watch someone else play, I would. But I've just internalized my own play style. But I asked Jackal again for some help, and he gave me some really good tips. And I feel like I kind of understand how I want to grow moving forward. And I think the things I'm going to implement are going to especially help me against players like Ouch and Lemon. Um, and I can potentially go into further detail on that, but it's more just gameplay stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, without giving a, let's maybe slightly hold on that. We'll see. What I'm trying to say is, it seems that as you're trying to solve your problems on, you've talked about like motivation, the looking to keep being the best, like in your tweets recently, and like, bouncing back from losses, maintaining the will to win. It seems like, as we've kind of said, that the point how the game's working for you is that you're growing a lot as a person. So not only is like Moxie growing, as we kind of talked in our last interview, so is Sierra, and
Definitely.
I'm just kind of curious. You're on your own. You're doing Smash full time. Well, not necessarily on your own. You do have Ray and and JoJo with you.
My besties.
But I mean, like all in all, life is stressful in itself. I mean, how is Sierra taking it? I mean, Moxie's kind of taking it all. She has a way to, an outlet. But how are
Um,
you?
these past couple of days, Moxie's been doing all right. Sierra's been struggling. I've had some pretty rough days just because I'm really trying to figure something out. But I feel like in these like just like last yesterday and today, I've kind of made like a little bit of a breakthrough because that's when I reached out. I reached out to Jackal. I thought about my mentality a lot. I thought about just like how I'm gonna deal with this next upcoming month, and setting myself up for a routine and a schedule, which is what I have recently done. This past week, I've actually been able to stick to a routine for the first time in I think maybe my life, where I'm exercising every day and I am doing like 1 to 2 hours of Smash specific practice every day on top of a training regimen of practice for Smash every day, and I'm helping with my diet. I'm getting a better relationship with food, and I'm making changes to my social life to better accommodate for how I want to allocate my time. And these are all changes that I made in the past week or so, and I feel like they're really starting to come together. So I was having definitely a rough few days, but I feel really good right now, and I think that I have set myself up for a path that can lead to my growth, and I am more confident now in my potential to find not only just find a breakthrough, but just like kind of grow at a stable level. And I'm not even really looking to achieve a certain goal. I don't have anything I'm shooting for in Smash necessarily, but I think I can grow to a player that I'm going to be proud of, um, very soon. And I'm already pretty proud of myself in a lot of ways, but I want to shoot for more, and I think I will be able to now
I,
that I've set myself up.
Yeah, I think what you just described to me was really impressive because you spoke earlier in this interview. You said, "Yeah, I don't really have like mentors that much because I don't ask for help." Right?
It's true.
It's really impressive that you broke that. Not just that. Maybe this is a weird way to phrase it, but like you come from similar esports worlds to me. Like there's like players being paid millions of dollars on MOBA teams that like need coaches to like daddy
Yeah.
them to eat better and to like grow. Yet you just have the drive. You're the only one lighting the fire under your ass. It seems.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's some external factors. I mean, I do live off this game, so
Mm-hmm.
that is like some sort of fire that's being lit under me. Is that I kind of just have to, you know, make a living off of this. But I understand the importance of having a healthy self, and also I really understand the importance of having a life beyond Smash. And I've realized how poorly I treat myself, at a lot of different moments, and I think it definitely directly affects um, the outcomes of my career and also just how I feel as a person. So I don't need really other people to tell me that I have to make a change because I'm very introspective and I sit down, I think about it, and I'm like, yeah, something needs to be adjusted, and I can very quickly find out what it is. And I have, like I made in my long twit longer, that was one of the things that kind of showed me that I've like snapped in like a good way, where I've really like made the change in my brain where I'm ready to like actually pursue like a better self. And that's like, I don't know, I think it's some form of maturity, shown for me just to be able to do this. But also, um on the a topic of not asking for help, It is something that I don't often do because I don't think I need it. A couple days ago, when I reached out to Jackal, that was something that took a lot of consideration from me because um, it is not something I normally do. But I was going through a very terrible day. I was having some really really tough self thoughts, and thinking about my Smash career and how my growth curve has been. It was very easy for me to be down on myself because I feel like I haven't grown in like the grand scheme of things as much as I would have liked to, and I feel like even though results don't matter very much over a long enough sample size, to me they feel like indicative of something, and I just didn't feel like I was making enough strides, or and when I was watching myself play, I just didn't feel like there was anything that was inspiring me. And like I want to be something that is inspiring to other people and also has things that I see where I'm surprised and shocked and inspired by how I was able to come up with such a thing. And that's why I reached out to Jackal, is because I was at a point where I felt like I really needed someone to tell me what is going wrong because I just am not seeing it myself because I haven't grown. Like it was kind of born out of self-doubt, that message that I sent, because I didn't feel like I could figure it out myself. And I think even though it was a negative moment for me, I ended up making the right decision because I was correct. It wasn't something I could figure out myself. It was finally something that I did need to ask for help on, and what I was told was very helpful. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. And I'm gonna put my best effort to actually implement it and not just let the advice go in one ear and out the other.
Uh, so I know a lot of people have probably told you that they look up to you because you're really good at Smash. But is it weird for me to kind of say that I think just you as a person is kind of inspirational?
That's not weird, but thank you so much. That's very kind. I also like when I want myself to be an inspiration. When I think of myself, I want to be someone that people can look up to and you know try to follow and not lead them down the wrong path. I often, when I'm talking to myself about like what I want to be and how I want to go about growing, I'm like, I'm gonna be someone's inspiration someday, and it's really also easy for me to forget that I inspire people now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I tell myself I'm gonna be someone's inspiration someday. Like I need to you know lead myself down the right path, and so I'm happy that I can, at this moment, already be doing that for someone, doing that for you. I really appreciate that you feel that way. Um, yeah.
I mean, I know you kind of are saying that you're looking forward to it, but is it kind of weird that I mean, you're just doing what you're doing. You're just having the in your head like this like end result. Like I want to be something that somebody looks up to. Yet the fact that you are so self motivated and just want to make a grind out of what you love, and you're
hmm
gonna do anything, it sure inspires more guys than just me.
Yeah, I've been told a lot recently that I inspire people actually. People tell me like with my play and also just as a person, and I've had some interesting like self conversations of just like, is that I'm shocked that that's true. I'm shocked that that's actually happening right now. Um, and again, I don't think it's weird. It's just I am just going about my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
the even though like I want to be someone that inspires others, I'm not really like going out of my way for it. Like I'm trying to like make what I am doing for a living work. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make my passion and Smash and just this thing that I want to pursue for the rest of my life. Like I need to make that a reality. And so all I'm doing is trying to pursue that. And yeah, I'm shocked that it can already have that effect, but yeah.
Yeah, so as you kind of said, it doesn't seem like an extra burden on Sierra the fact that Moxie draws eyes of inspiration.
No, I'm very comfortable with eyes in general, just because I've been such a public figure for some time. Is that like I've had myself out there, I've been open, I genuinely just like telling people about like the deeper workings of me, because I think when people know everything about me, they understand it better, or they understand me better, and it's easier for me to get out what I need to say if they know what's going on with me. So, um, yeah, I don't find it any more of a burden to have people looking up to me, or to have people seeing me in any kind of light, because I'm very used to having people see me in all kinds of ways. And that's something I'm also thankful for, is being able to handle that pressure.
Well, I think I'm about run out of questions for this one. Speaking of all eyes on you and watching you, real quick, you want to plug your Metafy and your Twitter?
I do. My Twitter, I'm kind of using it a little bit more. I kind of also just want to have like some kind of social media presence, just for brand reasons. So, yeah, if you want to see me on Twitter, at moxisl, moxisl, and on Metafy, it's metafy.gg/ at moxi, moxi. And that's it. I haven't done too many Metafy lessons for a while, but I got another one booked recently that I did on Monday. It was super awesome. I forgot how much I like coaching and seeing people, have brain blasts when they realize something really cool. So if that's something anyone's interested in, definitely go check that out. And yeah, that's
Okay.
all.
Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna end the stream.